Howdy y'all, making a video to make a brief review of the ET Racing booster pump, fuel booster pump for the KTM 890 the KTM 500s. I think it works on the 350C. Anyway, the KTM Enduro bikes and the Husqvarna as well. So mine is this one's a 2024 Husqvarna FE501, and this has the IMS tank, IMS 3.2 gallon tank in it. And some of you know, the issue is that the KTM, when they made this, they made it so that you can see the fuel pump is up here, right? So this is the fuel pump, and so the fuel pump is at the top of the tank, and it picks up fuel right there, right? Right there. So it picks up fuel just right there where the fuel pump sits. And so what happens is, as the tank drains and gets lower, there's nothing that picks up fuel here. So KTM's theory is that as you ride, fuel is supposed to splash from here up to there, and then the pump picks up fuel, which doesn't, it sounds great in theory maybe, but it actually doesn't work very well. So, because what happens is, as the fuel drops, if you can imagine, right, it gets harder, especially gets harder for fuel to get up there, unless you're bouncing up and down, and then there's a better shot. But even then, it's still very difficult that the last bit of fuel will still reach right there. And then if you let the bike sit, and the fuel say right there, so it's below the fuel pump, and you come to start, then the bike actually won't start. So this has been a problem. People have been trying to come up with solutions for this, and this is what ET Racing has done, is they have created a fuel pump inside of this. So there is a pump right here that's attached to that right there, as you can see, and then it sucks the fuel from here and then takes it up to where the OEM fuel pump picks it up. There's a little cup up here where the OEM fuel pump picks up fuel. So the ET Racing version simply sucks the fuel from down here and brings it up to where the fuel pump can now pick it up. Which is great. Taco Motor Racing also makes one that does something similar, but they're trying to do a double snorkel. So they have snorkel that comes down here, and then one that comes down the other side as well. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think they've gotten that to work yet, and I suspect it's probably because they're having issues getting probably building enough pressure to suck the fuel out of both sides. And then also, I suspect that air probably gets into their system, because as one side probably drains, then there's a chance that air gets into one side, and that probably then creates an issue with the other side sucking fuel. That's my guess. That's why they've been sold out since they released them. That's my theory. And before I installed the ET Racing one, this one here, I tried this is the one from nicecnc, and the way that this one worked is this attached to the OEM fuel pump, and then try to suck fuel from down at the bottom of the fuel tank. This thing is a piece of crap. Doesn't work. Anyone's considering getting the nicecnc version, don't do it. It is totally garbage. So anyway, let's see how this one works. This bike has been sitting for 2 days now since I installed this, and you can see where the fuel is down here, right? So there's very little fuel. So normally, when there's this little amount of fuel, there's no way the bike won't start, because there's just not, it's too low. And so you can see, if I shake it, right, you can see the fuel moving in there. So that's not a lot of fuel. And so the way that now this system will work is it'll take the fuel so the fuel level is just right there. So it'll take the fuel from there now, just pump it up to here where the OEM fuel pump can then pick it up. So let's see how this works. So I'll hit start to get this to work. So I suspect because it's been sitting for a couple days, it might have to suck the fuel up to the cup unless it's drying out. Oh, no, not at all. So you can see that right there. That started right away. Pretty impressive. With only that much fuel, and actually you can see there's even less fuel now. Look at that. So the fuel is pretty much gone because the fuel pump sucked the fuel. Oh yeah, so like right now, as I do that, you can see that there's basically no fuel in this thing right now. Right? Can you see that? Oop. Can you see where the fuel level is? It's way down at the bottom. It's all the way down here now. Yeah. So there's basically no fuel right now. Try to see the fuel. Alright. Make sure you can see that. It might be hard to see, but the fuel level is right now is all the way down here. And this is still able to run and suck all the fuel out. So this is the version for me. This is the one to get. No need to wait for Taco to get their shit sorted out. And then if for some reason I'm gonna turn this off. So if for some reason this runs out of fuel on this side, then you can tip the bike over if there's still fuel on this side, which you can see. I think you might be able to see. Oops. I don't think there's any fuel on this side. So anyway, if there was still fuel on this side, you could tip the bike over to then bring the fuel, all the remaining fuel over here. But anyway, I'm really impressed with this ET Racing fuel pump. And as far as installation goes, you have to drill a 10 millimeter hole down here, and this is where the fuel pump attaches. The booster pump attaches down here. So you drill a hole, and then this screws in and holds the fuel pump, the booster pump in place. And then this then runs, this then runs, there's a hose, then runs up to where the OEM fuel pump picks up fuel. And then all this does is it sucks the fuel from down here, right? And then drops it in here. And then the OEM fuel pump just picks it up. So it doesn't change any of the function of the OEM fuel pump. It's just taking fuel from down here and bringing it up to there. Very simple, it's great, I like it a lot. And then the other thing you have to do is then you drill a 12 millimeter hole back here. Let's see, I can show you. Well, there's a 12 millimeter hole. You can kind of see under there. Let's see. I'll use this light, maybe. Maybe not. But back there, behind the fuel tank, there is a 12 millimeter hole that then runs the wiring harness that powers the fuel pump. And so it gives you this pigtail that plugs into the OEM fuel pump, and then that plugs into the power source for the OEM fuel pump, and then from here it then gives power to the OEM fuel pump, and then also then routes power through here to the booster pump that's in the tank. And then this right here tells you, so if I turn it on, you see the light that comes on there? So that tells you when it's running. See? So that light just gives you indication that the pump is running, and the pump doesn't run all the time. So that means that the pump is turned off. So it runs and then turns itself off for whatever reason. exactly the rationale. And then this blue wire here is, if for some reason the pump doesn't restart itself, like I said, the pump turns itself on and off. There's some algorithm that tells it when to do that. I don't remember exactly what it is, or a microprocessor. Then if you take this blue wire here, you'd see it has two bullet connectors that come together right there. So if you disconnect those two, then the pump will run all the time. So if you get into an issue where the pump isn't running or there's an issue with it, you can unplug those two and it'll force the pump to run all the time. Anyway, my review, ET Racing, it's ET Racing right there. Booster pump, highly, so far I think it's great, recommended. I haven't actually taken it out to ride, but I can just tell you from right here, I mean, what you just saw is, or are seeing, there is right now, because it sucked all the fuel that was down here into the, let's see, you can see that there is basically, there's no fuel in here right now. So I'm trying to, as I'm shaking this, you see that? You can see that there is no fuel right now. Right, remember when I was doing this before, you could see the fuel sloshing around? You can see a little bit down at the bottom there. Can you see just a little bit of fuel at the bottom there as I do that? Very little. And so normally that's impossible, like you won't get this bike to start. But as you can see, even with that little amount of fuel, this thing's great. Even with that little amount of fuel, booyah, it starts. Not fantastic. It uses every little bit of fuel in the tank. So this thing's great. The only caveat I had with this was, with the IMS tank, the hose that came with this was actually too short, because the IMS 3.2 gallon tank is a little deeper, so it was actually a little too short. Fortunately, the kit included an extra hose, length hose, so I spliced that in. I did have to go buy a coupler, a 1/4 inch. I use copper coupler to connect the extension hose to make it longer, so that it could reach from there to there without any stress. That was actually the biggest challenge, because I had to go to 4 different hardware stores. It took me like 2 hours driving around to find that 1/4 inch. So there you have it. Booster, ET Racing booster plug. I think it's great. Totally recommend it. I will, yeah, you're probably asking, you want to see a video of the rest of the bike? Yes. I've been doing some shakedown rides, and I've got some kludgy things to explain, but the bike rides great. I'm really happy with it. You can see some of my mods I've done to the bike. You can see some things I got going on. Look at that thing right there. Yeah, so anyway, video coming of the full build. For now, I'll just give you some, you can see some visual highlights of the build. I'll do a full description of the build later. Oh, what I did want to show you, sorry. Actually, if I look in the, if I take in the fuel tank, so there you can see down below there, the oops, there you go. You can actually see that's the fuel pump, and that's the hose. You can see the hose. It runs up to there, and that pumps the fuel, and you can see there's no fuel in there right now. I mean, it's freaking empty. And so that is what brings the fuel up in there. You can see where I had this, you can see where I spliced it down there. I don't know if you can see it. Right about there is where I added a little more length to the hose, and then that's the power, the cable that powers it, and that runs out the back over here. So, and that basically just sucks fuel and then drops it up here where the fuel pump is, just right there. So yeah, that's cool. So you can see that. You can see what that looks like on the inside there. All right, great, cool stuff. Thanks for watching. Also, I forgot to mention the price. So what's this one called? The nicecnc one was $100, $110, $105, like that. And then this one, including shipping from Poland to the US, the ET Racing was $217. So way much better deal. That is a piece of crap. Don't even waste your money trying that. And then, as you know, if you're thinking about getting the who makes the other one again? Takomoto version. Takomoto version is $700. So, not for me personally, not worth it. I would not, absolutely not worth it. I'm showing you all some of the other bits and bobs that we'll be talking about later. So, yeah, get the ET Racing one. Definitely don't get that one. And personally, I wouldn't spend $700 to get the Takomoto version either. So I think this one is the way to go. ET Racing.